Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk about Black History Month, the month that is a celebration of my people, because I am a black man and everything. And it's about all our accomplishments, all the oppression that we have gone through over like centuries of living in like America and stuff like that. So I'm here today to talk to you about Star Trek Deep Space Nine Season 4, Episode 2, The Visitor. So this came out all the way back in 1995. And watching these old Trek shows, boy, it feels so good. Ooh, it feels so good. Like just the good Trek, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm still not down with the new Trek, although there are some that are a little bit better than others. Like I like Strange New Worlds. Season 3 of Picard was good. Season 4 of Discovery was all right, and stuff like that, just all right and stuff. But like just watching these old Trek shows, boy, it just brings me back. And so The Visitor is a very emotional, very touching, very sweet episode that revolves around Jake Sisko of all people. He rarely gets his own solo episode only because he's the main character, but he's more like a main recurring character because he was young when the show first started. His character was only like 14. Now he's 18 in this season and stuff. And it's a touching story of a son who lost his father. One of the things that James Avery said brought him to this show was the dynamic between Sisko having a son. And he wanted to show that a lot in the series because he said that, in our society, there are a lot of black men who abandon their sons. And he did not want to see that on the show. He wanted to show a positive light on it. And they did a pretty good job, doing that. They could have done more episodes and stuff with those two, but it's the only Star Trek series where a captain has a child on the series. Very unique, very different. But the interesting thing about this is that Cedric, I believe his name is, the dude who plays Jake, he's barely in this episode because Tony Todd plays the adult version of him. So we got a little bit of time, somewhat traveling, alternate reality shenanigans going on in here. And so, like, this episode is a lot of people's favorites, like a lot. So much so that they put it on alternate realities, the Star Trek DVD. Now, there's another Jake Sisko episode that deals, what uniform were they? They were still wearing those Voyager type episodes. I believe it's season 4 as well, where they have to go and him and the doctor have to go help some people on this planet, and the Klingons are doing what Klingons do best. And Jake is, having to experience war firsthand. And, that was a really good Jake episode. I wanted to talk about that as well, but sadly, I don't have the DVD that one is on. So I just have to make do with this one. And so this episode has a very special guest star. 2, in fact. One is Galen George. May she rest in peace. She played that of Jake's wife. And she was in Mantis and RoboCop 2. And I need to rewatch Mantis. I ain't seen that since I was a kid. I think it's on YouTube somewhere. Boy, that was a very outdated show. I believe it was the very first black superhero television show like ever. And it stars, I forget the actor's name, but he voiced John Jones in the Justice League cartoons. Carl something or another, I can't remember. Carl something. And it also stars that of Rachel Robinson. And she is the daughter of Andrew Robinson, who plays Garrick. And she also auditioned for the role of Ezra Dax, but she lost out to it. She's done some acting here and there, and I had no idea she was in The Power. I reviewed that, I think, Did I review that earlier this year or late last year? One of those two. And I didn't recognize her, so I'm not even sure where she is and what episode she's in and stuff. But like, man, I want to rewatch it just to see where she's at. But I don't feel like rewatching it because I literally just watched that show. And so like, that's cool that she gets started in this episode, even though Andrew is nowhere to be found in this episode. Oh, and also, let me just say, rest in peace to the actor who plays Odo, Renee, and I can't remember his last name. Starts with an A. May that dude rest in peace. Odo is seen in this episode, but doesn't say nothing. That's very sad. And the actor who plays Nog, I think his name is Aaron Eisenberg, I believe. May he rest in peace. But at least he got a promotion in this alternate reality. And so the reason why this episode is so touching is because of the journey that Jake goes through from the year when he's 18 years old to around 70, 80, something like that. And he doesn't have time to enjoy himself because he's dealing with the loss of his father, Captain Benjamin Sisko. And it's to the point where he tries to enjoy his life, but there's a nagging feeling of him wanting to try to save his father. And so because of that, it just ends up kind of like ruining his life. And so in the beginning of this episode, he's at his house and we see him take like some type of Starfleet like tool. And since it's future tech, that's cool. I like that. It's a hypo spray, a really tiny one. I like that. I wish they would show that in New Trek, but they don't because they don't know the first thing about Star Trek. Anyway, and we see him inject himself with something, but we don't know what. And so it's raining and it's nighttime, and a woman shows up, and he lets her come in his home to dry off. See, this is good old Trek. Back in those days, a stranger can come to your home and you will welcome them with open arms. Not no more. And you can't even do that in the real world no more. Because like people used to do that all the time back in like the olden days and the Western days and stuff like that. But oh boy, not no more. And so this woman is basically a super fan. And she's been wanting to meet this dude forever and ever and ever because she wants to be a writer. And Jake is a writer, but he's only published 2 books and then he stopped. And so she's curious to know why that is. And he's just so, Tony Todd does an amazing job. Tony Todd, the Candyman, whatever that dude name is, he plays on the Final Destination movie. He's gonna be in the 6th one that's coming out as soon as they make it. And so like Tony Todd, the first time I ever saw that man was Xena, Warrior Princess. And that man is an amazing actor. He's played in several Star Trek series, Voyager, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, 2 completely different characters, Worf's brother of all things. And so like this man is truly, truly talented. I believe he's Canadian actor, and he was also in The Flash. And, you know, there's not much more you can say but praising that man. Like, he deserves so many awards, that voice, the way he carries himself. Has all this prosthetic on his face, looking rubbery. And he just plays the sweetest, kindest, nicest older man. And it's amazing to see how Jake turned out. So humble, so caring, so enduring. Like, you know, because Jake can be a bit stubborn and everything. And remember how he used to always get in trouble. So he tells her the story of why he stopped like writing, what he's been up to, and how he lost his father. Basically, when he was on Deep Space Nine, he was writing something, and his dad wanted to take him into Defiant to see a temporal incursion happening in the wormhole. His dad said this happens every 50 years. And I asked myself, how the heck does he know that? Because this wormhole to the Gamma Quadrant is very new. Unless it happens in other like wormholes and stuff. Well, of course, something happens. It always happens. And the ship is messing up. Engineering is a little screwed up. And so Sisko has to like repair the thing himself. Which I'm thinking to myself, oh, since when has he been an engineer? And so he tries to fix it with Jake's help. And then he gets hit by lightning in the warp core, and the electrical charge destabilized his molecules, and he just disappeared. I'm like, holy crap, dude, he got vaporized. And Jake is stunned and cannot believe it. He is beside himself. That's that man's father. He lost his mother just like a couple of years back, and now he just lost his father. And it's really sad. Like, how could they kill off the captain of this series, you know? And also something I want to point out real fast. The outfit young Jake is wearing. Take a good look at that purple and green outfit. That right there, people, is real Star Trek civilian clothes. Yes, from the 24th century. That is how Star Trek clothes are supposed to look in the future. Nowadays, it started to change around the TNG movies, where people started wearing more grays, browns, black, and like trench coats and stuff. That later went on into the series like Deep Space Nine and Voyager, and so on and so on. And now in New Trek, now they just wear basically regular clothes from the 21st century, and I hate that. But this is how Gene Roddenberry envisioned it. These bright colors, these weird looks, and everything, this weird pattern, and that's how clothes are supposed to look. So there is a memorial service on Deep Space Nine, but we see the ramifications of what happened when Cisco is gone, and I cannot believe the events that occurred. All the Bajorans left that of the station because the emissary is dead. The Klingons are stepping up their game and everything, and next thing you know, they literally force that of Starfleet off the Deep Space Nine station, to where the Klingons take it over, and the Kardashians have a peace treaty, or at least a neutral peace treaty type thing with the Bajorans. Very shocking, because they hate Bajor and stuff. And it's just so crazy how all this stuff turned out just from the death of one man. And so, like, there's a very, very touching scene with that of Kira and that of Jake. You barely see Kira's face in this entire episode. I don't know if she was pregnant at this time. I think she was around season 4, and so they probably didn't want to show her body. But they did this really cool thing where Jake is just sitting in a room in the dark. She comes in, and you see the back of her, and she's talking to Jake, and you only see her face on the reflection of the window. Then she turns around, and all you see is a dark silhouette of her face. It's just so captivating and beautiful. And so as they're talking, at some point in time, he's in his room by himself, and his dad just appears out of nowhere, acting like everything is normal. So his dad's alive, but then his dad disappears again. And so throughout like time, his dad's always disappearing and reappearing. So when he reappeared one time, he looks like he's hurt, and he's in sick bay, and they're trying to figure out what happened. He's displaced in subspace. So basically the warp core just like threw him into like subspace. And so they're trying to put like a containment field around him, and nothing will work. Well, there's a bit of a problem now. They no longer has access to the station, and so they think, hey, let's go back to the scene of the crime. Well, this is many, many, many years now into the future. And we get the all good things, uniforms and badges. And that is awesome, because I love those outfits and I love those badges even more. So they get to Defiant and they go back where all this stuff happened, near the wormhole. Worf is I don't know if he's in Starfleet or with the Klingons, but he was able to pull some strings. So you remember in All Good Things, he was working with the Klingons. Then because after All Good Things, he went back to Starfleet and stuff. And so most likely he's with Starfleet, but this is an alternate reality we are in now. Well, it's technically the prime, but it will become an alternate reality. And so, like, by this time, Nog is like a commander in Starfleet and stuff. No, wait, I think I'm skipping way too far ahead. Yeah, so I'm getting to the point, I'm ahead of myself. So anyway, Nogs is commander in Starfleet, and he, is talking to Jake and everything like that about how the Klingons are making things difficult and stuff like that. Jake is now married, And then we go further into the future where he's a bit older. It turns out Jake has stopped writing. He went back to school and became a scientist, trying to figure out a way to bring his father back. This is the part now where we get to the all good things reality, when the uniforms and this and that. And we learn some interesting things. We learned that there no longer are 2D, like, touch pads and stuff like that. We don't get to see the new touch pads or anything. So that's kind of cool to know. Jatzia is there of all people. Because we all know what happens to her in the future and stuff. And everybody's, Jazzy is a full commander. Bajur is like, a commander and everything. And it's weird seeing them so old being commanders. And Nog is somewhat young as he is now a captain. And so, sadly, it does not work. We also see an old tricorder. Why? We're supposed to see a new one. And so he realizes something. That subspace thing that hit Cisco also hit Jake. So they're like tied to each other like an anchor. And so as he's talking to the woman in the future, he's much older now. At some point in time, he does talk to his father, and because his father got to meet his wife about how he wants grandkids, and at some point in time, he talked to his father again, and the father's upset that Jake has stopped writing, and that Jake doesn't have grandkids, and his wife literally left him because he was so adamant on trying to get his father back, he didn't have time for nothing else, to where his wife just got tired of him and left. So this man has lived a miserable life, and so he tells that lady, over and over and over, I ain't got much time, because he is dying. And she doesn't understand how. So he tells her, he's all like, if he was to die while his father's not there, his father will be lost in subspace. But if his father is there with him as he dies, then it will go back to that point in time where his father is about to get hit by that discharge. And and then his father will live. He took poison. That was that tool, a hypo spray that he used in the beginning of the episode. And the poison takes a good long time to work until the morning. Like that lady literally stayed there till like morning and everything, talking to him, and he stayed up. And so he gives her the rough copy of one of his novels, and she thanks him because now she has inspiration to when she wants to write her own novel. So at some point in time, he's waiting for his father to show, because he realizes only at certain points in time does his father show up. So he calculated like everything he did perfectly, and his father shows up. This is a very touching scene where Jake is asleep because he's an old man. He wakes up and his dad's just looking at him with his hand on his cheek and just staring, smiling at his old son. And, he tells his father what he did, and his father is upset. He's all like, you're supposed to live your life and have a good life, not worry about me and stuff. But his son just can't do that. His son cannot, he feels like he can't fully live his life and function without his father. That is his rock, his support. So at some point, the poison kicks in, he dies, and he tells his father, before he dies, just to look out for the discharge. So his father goes back in time, he ducks out of the way, he sees his younger son, and gives him a hearty hug. And it's just one of the most, choked up scenes you can, experience and everything. It's done very well. It's so touching, and New Trek has never tried to recapture a moment like this. Happy Black History Month, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.